My name is Corinne Cross. I'm a corporate recruiter with Beacon Hill Staffing Group. I'm responsible for entry-level hiring for the West Coast, Colorado, and Texas. But on that note, again, we will go ahead and get to introductions. And we will kick things off with you, Christina, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Christina Mazzella, and I work for the Associates Division of Beacon Hill in Austin, Texas.
I'm Mackenzie Campaign. I work as a staffing consultant. I work for our Technologies Division in Austin, Texas. I'm actually currently in DC.
I'm Madeline Holton. I'm a staffing consultant in the Seattle finance office.
I'm an account executive. I work in the LA office. We're a technology temporary staff.
And so first things first, love to ask, and we'll have everybody answer this one, is what attracted you to staffing, to our industry, and how might it relate to any of your undergrad experience at U of A?
I saw the opportunities in staffing. It kind of gave me the opportunity to really utilize my interest in working with people and helping people, but just in a different way than doctors do, obviously. So I've really always loved connecting with people and really just can honestly make conversation with about anybody.
So I, being a retail major, happened to do a buying internship at the end of my junior year. And I thought my whole college career, I was like, I'm going to be a buyer. That's what I want to do. And then about 2 weeks into my internship, I was like, okay, this is fun, but are we going to be doing the same thing every day? And my buyer was like, yeah, it's a very routine job. This is what you do. You come in, do the same thing. And I was like, okay. And so about another weekend, I was like, okay, I just look at the clock every day. I'm like, is it 5 p.m.? And what I noticed about staffing is that it's never like that. No 2 days are the same. So there's nothing really routine about it. So if you're someone that likes chaos, likes to be flexible, and also likes to help people, like Christina said, I think this is a great career path. I mean, if you're one of those people that don't want to be sitting at your desk all day, kind of staring at the clock, then this is something that you would love to do.
Honestly, after I graduated, I was pretty lost. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I kind of didn't know anything about recruiting. It didn't really cross my mind. So after being approached with this opportunity, I started looking more into it, and I was like, this sounds amazing. Being a comm major, it was kind of like a natural move to me to go into a position where I'm speaking with people, meeting different people, kind of using my interpersonal skills on a daily basis.
Problem solving aspect was very attractive to me, as well as just hearing about a couple of my friends who were in the industry that made a lot of really good long-term friends at work. And I think for me, what was really important after graduating college is having a job where I can meet a lot of friends, and that was extremely important to me. Something that will keep me engaged, but also very good company culture. And I think that's what sort of really drew me in.
I mainly focus on the candidate side of the job. And I work with candidates who are looking for administrative, HR, customer service, marketing, those types of positions. So pretty much I find job seekers, and then I do the initial phone screen with them. I ask them few questions there, and then I set up an in-person or now a Zoom interview. Really get to know the candidates that I work with, and then I kind of play matchmaker with the jobs that are open that the account managers bring in. And I also do interview prep. I fire candidates. I do candidate management, and pretty much bring them through the whole process from the beginning to the end.
What does an account executive do for Beacon Hill?
When you're first starting out as an account executive, you're really, I guess, sort of trying to get your book of sales. So you're really reaching out to different companies that you don't have a contract with in place. So you're sort of going out prospecting, trying to find future clients that would need your resources and sort of build relationships with the different hiring managers at those companies. There's a lot of cold calling going on when you're reaching out to the clients firsthand. And then once you sort of get in contact with those clients, I guess sort of checking in with them and building those relationships. Like before coronavirus, we were going into meetings on site. And once you had the initial introduction meeting, you would sort of set another meeting and go grab like lunch or coffee.
What is the training like? Might be different for each team, but would love to hear from your perspective what that was like.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's probably different in every office. I know personally I had kind of a split training. So half of my training was coming from a corporate level, and that would be doing like modules, learning how our software worked, learning how we use our candidate database, that kind of thing. And then it was really cool because from this corporate level, we also got to do calls with leaders throughout the company or do calls with people that were really successful in their role and get tips and tricks from them. Like I remember talking to a recruiter who had only been there for a year. She was already making a ton of money doing 10K in weekly spread. And I got to work with her personally. And I was like, oh, how did you do that? So there's a lot of guidance from the whole company. And then just in my office, I was partnered with a senior recruiter for my first, I think it was like my first 3 weeks. I shadowed him doing everything. So I would sit with him, shadow him on calls where he's actually talking to candidates, go to meetings with him. If he was taking a candidate out to lunch, he would bring me along and just show me how you can have that relationship with your candidates.
So learning from different people, like I had a mentor assigned to me right when I started, and she actually lived in Boston, but we would talk all the time on the phone. She was so helpful. Like I can't even explain how helpful she was. Like she was definitely saving me at some points when I was like very confused, but sort of same thing. Anyone in the office was available to help. Everyone was happy to help.
Beacon Hill or maybe even their manager supports career growth.
Yeah, so I would say like when I first started out, I was so nervous being entry level. It's kind of crazy moving into something that you don't really know anything about. Obviously, I'm doing finance and I was terrible at accounting in college. So I was like, I don't know anything about accounting or finance. How is this going to go? How am I going to learn this? And I got so lucky right off the bat. Both my manager and my supervisor were so supportive of me. I would say this company as a whole is extremely supportive. Kind of what I love most about this company is they really encourage promotions. They'll want to be with you through the whole process, check in with you as much or as less as you need to make sure you're hitting your goals and you like where you're at.
We have one-on-one meetings every single week, and we just kind of go through my goals, both professionally and personally. So like a few months ago, I went to her and I was like, hey, I really, really want to buy a new car. And how can we need to figure out how I can do this. And so we like made a plan for me, like set my goals, which actually was awesome because during COVID, I have been doing the best that I've ever done ever, which is crazy. But set those goals and I was able to like buy a car comfortably, like, you know, hitting my numbers, hitting my interviews and things like that.
Fifth panelist jump in. Haley, video looks awesome. Want to give you the chance to go through an introduction, just who are you? You know, where do you work at Beacon Hill? And then give you the chance to answer our first question. I love hearing this of what attracted you to staffing.
So obviously I went to U of A. I am from Arizona. I started working at a different agency at first. And then I transitioned to California, and now I'm an account executive at Beacon Hill, obviously. The first question to answer, what attracted me to staffing? I mean, I think for me, at least, I wanted a job where I was around people and I was talking to people and just building relationships with whoever it was. You're constantly talking to different people. You're constantly meeting new people, and it opens your eyes up to a lot of different cultures and, you know, just like depending on what industry you're in, like you really gain a lot of experience and knowledge with, you know, people that you talk to, and you learn a lot. I mean, at least I have.
So specifically for Simone and Haley, both of you were working at different companies before coming to Beacon Hill. And Haley, like you mentioned, that was specifically another staffing firm. So wanted to hear from both of you what it was that brought you to Beacon Hill after choosing, you know, a different position out of college.
So yes, I started at a different agency. The reason I moved to Beacon was for a lot of different like factors, but honestly, like Beacon is a lot smaller than the agency that I did work for. It's privately owned, and it just felt more like a home. Like you don't feel like you're like another employee on the roster. Honestly, like you do feel like you actually are a person, and people respect you, and you get that one-on-one time that you normally wouldn't get at a bigger agency or a larger agency.
Reason of like the support system and management as well as the team members. Like I feel like that's huge. Like I feel like when I wake up in the morning, if I'm like really stressed out about work and I have no one that I can sort of vent to, that's already an issue in itself. The fact that you have like sort of like a family type situation where you can sort of reach out if you need help, if you're struggling with like personal problems, all that kind of stuff is really what drew me in. There's a lot of women in leadership at Beacon Hill, which I think was very attractive to me.
What's your favorite part of your job when it comes to the day-to-day?
One of my favorite things that's more routine is every morning, me and my recruiting team, since we've been in quarantine, we've been doing morning coffee meetings. So it's just, my recruiting team's pretty small right now. It's only 4 of us. So we'll sit down, get our coffee, talk about our priorities. If it's a Monday, we're talking about our weekends. So kind of piggybacking on the whole aspect of they're not just coworkers, they become your best friends, like they become almost like family. So having that little bit of like just calmness before I start the day, having my coffee with my coworkers, that's been my favorite part since we've been in quarantine.
I would say there's a few favorite parts. I guess the fast pace, like when it hits 5, I'm like, how is it 5 o'clock? And I feel like that's a good feeling to feel when you're like, wait, the day is over. Like what? But also I really like kind of sharing my candidates' excitement when I get to extend the job offer. It's just so rewarding when they're so happy. And to just share that with them, it's really awesome.
A little bit about your interview process. It's a common question I get is, what's the advice for a candidate? How do I stand out in the interview process? So would love to hear from you on that one.
Yeah, so I would say the interview process, like I said, I touched on this earlier. I had no idea what I wanted to do. So when I was approached by this position, I was reached out to on LinkedIn by a campus recruiter. And I got on the phone with her, and it actually felt like, I think this is what kind of resonated with me, that she wasn't just calling me because it was like, oh, I see this girl, I'm going to call her. I want to make my dials and just get her sent over. It was more personable. Like she called me because she thought I would be a good fit, which I really liked. And she was just so easy to talk to. It was a quick process. She sent me over to the Seattle team, and she was like, got me ready for an interview the next day. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even have clothes. Like I need to go. So I was like rushing to Nordstrom, trying to get stuff all prepared for it. Stayed up so late, like preparing all these questions and answers to it. And I get in the interview and I sit down with my supervisor, and immediately it was just so like refreshing, easygoing. It wasn't like a thing where she was just firing off questions at me. It was conversational. She wanted to really know about me and what I was like and what I thought I wanted to do and why I wanted to be here. A lot of the offices are smaller. So my team is like a team of 10, and it's one of those things that you could be a top producer, be really great at the job, but if you don't fit in well with a team, or you're not really looking for like a family feel environment, you're more independent, it's not going to be the place for you. Another driver at this company is somebody who is money motivated. Obviously, it's commission based, so you want to be money hungry and you want to show them that in the interview as well. So that's kind of everything that I had to say about it. Be yourself, obviously. That's the biggest part.
Love to hear from each of you what your favorite, it could be specific to your team or Beacon Hill at large, favorite tradition, and we'll start with Christina.
I would say that one of my favorite things is probably our quarterly outings.
Yeah, it was a tie for me between our holiday party, but I decided to pick our tradition of beers in the bullpen instead.
Holiday party, I think, has to win.
Tradition that we do more often, I guess, when we were back in the office. We didn't do beers in the bullpen necessarily, but it was like the same concept. Like on Friday, we'd have like incentives, and if you hit them and you worked really hard from Monday until like Friday at like 1 to 3, whenever you could hit the numbers, we would always go down to this little like cafe bar, like in our building, basically, like on like the lobby floor. It was called Reds. So we'd always, if whoever hit incentive would go down there like at like 3 or whatever time, and we'd go have a couple drinks for happy hour.
Everyone would take turns like bringing breakfast, and so every Monday morning it would be something different, and honestly just like helped because it was like Monday, no one wanted to be there, and it was just a way to kind of bring everyone together, and every Monday it was something different. So from what I've experienced so far, that's what my favorite is.
As if you could sum up your Beacon Hill experience in one word, what would it be?
Tactful.
I would say a roller coaster. Gotta explain that a little bit. There's ups, there's downs, but it's always really fun.
I would say just rewarding.
Hard work would be a good one.
Yeah, for me, I would probably say grit, just because like you really have to put your head down and like focus. But when you do get there, it's so much better. It's so worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like all your words kind of speak to the same point of like, this isn't the easiest, job that you could take or career path, but extremely worth it. If you're there to put in the time and the effort and the work, like you will reap the benefits. You'll see the rewards on that. So I love it. Keeping my eye on the clock. I know we'll just kind of wrap up here. Be mindful of everybody's desk and their calendar, what they've got going on. So just to kind of, say a last thank you, I wanted to thank all 5 of you for joining. Haley, thank you for making it happen.